Remember the 5th of November, where I got a big stack of comic books and no Marvel, except for some books that will probably get me canceled. Howdy, American Texan here, and it is New Comic Book Day, and yes, I got no new Marvel books, but I got a whole run you probably shouldn't be able to buy anymore. If we haven't met before, my name is American Texan, and I love to talk about comic books and reading comic books, a little bit of collecting, but I am primarily a reader, and on Wednesdays, we go to the comic shop, we chat, we talk about the current storylines, we get some stuff on consignment, and in this episode, we're going to look at what I got. So if you're new here, at any point, if you like what you see, hit the like button. If you don't like what you see, please let me know, but I only take you serious if you hit the dislike button twice. Today, we're going to start by looking at what I got on consignment, including some stuff published by Marvel that I'm sure they don't want you to remember that they published, although from looking at the reviews online, apparently it's not as bad as you would think from the title. Then we're going to take a look at the new comic book releases of the week, just DC and indies, as well as a batch of crowdfunds that I got, and I just got one trade that we'll look at. But first, let's look at the consignments, and I would consign you to like and subscribe, hit the subscribe button. Did I do that? Did I do that right, YouTube? All right. This was a little bit of an impulse buy. We've got a batch of Blu-rays came in, and we've got this comic book collection. Comes with Kick A, comes with The Crow, Punisher, and Conan. I already got the Conan Blu-ray, but hey, doesn't hurt to have a second copy. And then The Spirit, which I have not watched. So, hey, for $7, I think it was, hey, let's have some movie nights. Also on consignment, this just looked interesting. Flare. This is from Hero Publishing, I think, and it just says comics are not just for kids anymore. Thought I'd give it a shot. It's a #1. Let's just turn off my brain and have a good time here. And now for the run that's going to get me in trouble. Come on, y'all. I can't be a good Texan without this in my collection. Captain Confederacy. The full run here, got it for under $20, I think. Now look, I love America. There's a reason why I'm American Texan. Okay, I'm not a secessionist. I'm not a South should have won guy. I'm glad the Union won. I'm glad at all that good stuff. But this seems like an interesting story. So this takes place apparently in an alternate universe where the South won. Instead of the USA, it's the CSA, the Confederate States of America. And instead of Captain America, he's Captain Confederacy. Now, like the classic Captain America runs where Captain America has that conflict with the American government, this is kind of the same thing. Captain Confederacy has conflict with the Confederate government. So it just seems like an interesting story. And for like $20, I was like, that's a good deal. And it's something fun to have in the collection. A rainy day read. Plus, it came with a couple extra #1s, and it's got a gun on the cover. So, I don't collect firearms on covers. If I had more money, I would. But it's just another one to add to the collection. I think that's something cool because you don't see a lot of firearms on covers anymore. So that's Captain Confederacy, the full run. And it says Steel Dragon Press, but the internet says it was published by Marvel. So maybe that was a Marvel imprint. I'm not sure. But that's all I got on consignment. And as far as trades for the week, I just got one. Hello. It's November 5th. We got V for Vendetta. Now, I do have the full-size graphic novel, but for $10, I figure I might as well get the compact comic here. Again, $10, and it's really good. I hope it's not edited. I believe it was Andrew from Foil Variant podcast on YouTube said that they edited some of the Hickman run. And so I hope they're not editing, DC's not editing the V for Vendetta, because I feel like this is actually thicker than the full-size comic I have. But also the full-size comic is going up in price. I saw one listed for like $100 somewhere. And of course, it's probably in better condition than mine, but makes me not want to touch mine. So I'll just read this for $10. It's so easy to get the compact comics. And if I read it and I decide I don't want to keep it, these are also great to put in the little libraries if you have those in your neighborhood. I know we've got one at our pizza shop. We've got one by the park near our house. And so I like to read these. And if I already have a copy or I have 2 copies for some reason, sometimes I'll buy one and I forget that I have it and I'll buy another one. It's great to leave in those little libraries because it's only $10. So anyways, V for Vendetta is the only trade that I got this week. Now let's go into new comics for the week. Usually I show off Marvel first. Marvel is just closest to my heart. I think they have I like Marvel characters better, but unfortunately there are just no Marvel books that spoke to me this week. Marvel is super saturated with X-Men right now with the Days of Revelations, and I'm just not a huge X-Men fan. I enjoy a good Wolverine story. I enjoy a good X story, but X-Men as a whole, as a lineup, just doesn't appeal to me. And there was nothing else really out. So no Marvel books for me, but we will go into DC. Starting with some Batman, we got Night Fight, right? That's what it's called. Night Fight #1, DC KO. I'm finally caught up on the KO, and I'm enjoying it. It's not exactly what I thought it would be. I feel like Scott Snyder's doing his best Hickman impression, but we got Night Fight here, and spoiler alert for DC KO #1, Batman got ran through by Joker, and so he should be dead, so I'm not sure what this is, some kind of alternate universe, or Omega Energy bringing him back, or maybe it was a fake out, I don't know. And I love this cover by Dan Mora. I think that is so cool. If I can get it in focus here. So that is Night Fight #1, and then I also got Batman #3. I'm still enjoying the Batman series. I think it could be handled better. There's certain parts that I really like for example, in issue 1 where he saved the girls in the park, and in issue 2, the art was really, I thought it was fantastic. It's not a solid 4 out of 5, but it's close enough that I'm going to keep pulling it. But also I enjoy the single storytelling. I like when a comic book can stand on its own and you can jump in at any time. I don't have to know a whole lot of history, so I'm really enjoying the current Batman run. I wouldn't say I'm really enjoying it, but I am enjoying it. And then we've got Teen Titans Go. One of my favorite reads, man. My daughter watched the show for a season, and I enjoyed watching it. There's a lot of inside jokes that you get as a DC fan, and this one is really just taking the show, putting it in comic form, not copying what a show did, but it has that style, it has that energy, so to speak, and the jokes land just as well if you're a DC fan. So this one is a lot of fun to read. And then we got Superman Book of L #3. Now, I'm not reading these because I have to. I read the first issue. I was pretty lost. I read the second issue and I was totally lost. So I got the Philip Kennedy Johnson Action Comics trades. I'm going to read those and then come through the Superman Book of L. So the way that I see it is I'm buying the trade in floppy form. I'm one of those weirdos that do prefer the floppy format. In fact, I mentioned, if Rippaverse, if I could get a book like, for example, Alpha Core as 6 floppies instead of 1 trade, I would much prefer that. I just like the floppy format better. That is the single issue floppy better. So I view it as like I'm just buying the trade in installments. So I'm enjoying that one. Last DC for the week is Batman Facsimile. I believe this is number 47. Yeah, number 47 says Origin of the Batman. We got the Batplane there. I just like look at that Batmobile. That's wild. Look at that Batman. I wish I could. There we go. Can you see that? Look at that Batmobile. That's cool. I like that. I like getting the facsimiles. You get a lot of story for a little bit of money, about twice as much as a floppy for $5. And you see the original advertisements, a lot of the original layout, and it's just a cool collection. I've got a short box going of facsimiles now. I am really enjoying that one. And I don't know why Marvel doesn't do more facsimiles. I know they do like a couple a month, but why are you facsimilating Civil War right now? That came out not even 20 years ago. Go back further. Give me Amazing Fantasy 15 facsimile. Give me Spider-Man #1 facsimile. Give me Wolverine #1 facsimile. My comic shop had a Wolverine on consignment. It was a Wolverine #1. I think it was $140. It might have been $75. She had a Wolverine #1 and a Hulk 340, which are big issues. One of them was $75. One of them was at $140, I think. Of course, they weren't in great condition. That's why they were so cheap. But I would love to read those stories. And I'm a paper reader guy. I don't like to read on the app or the computer. So if they just did those facsimiles, I'd be in trouble, man. I'd be buying everything that came out 40 years ago. I'd be going every Wednesday to buy something that came out 40 years ago. But anyways, Batman 47 facsimile, we got that down. All right, and then the indies for the week. I am glad they did a second printing of Viking Moon. I don't know too much about this other than Joe Pruitt's a good writer and Wes recommended it. So he recommended Viking Moon, and I went to my comic shop and they either didn't carry it or they were already sold out. So I just gave up on it. I was like, I'm not going to get this. And lo and behold, they had a second printing come out this week on the shelf. So I got it, and I don't know much about it, but I see a Viking dude, I see a werewolf, I see possibly a good time. So that's Viking Moon #1. Excited to read that one. Resident Alien Book of Changes. This is a great one if you like stories with a lot of heart. I'm not too into this arc. It's just a lot of and then storytelling. Not a lot of conflicts. A lot of heart warmth, but not a lot of conflict. So this is I'm a little cool on this one, but since I've already enjoyed the last couple of volumes and I have it on my list to go back and read from the beginning, I'm continuing to pull this one. Again, it's kind of like paying installments on the trade. Nemesis Forever, man. This guy is wild, and it looks like he's making some friends. He's playing the good guy. He's holding some kind of book. I don't know if that's supposed to be a religious book. Look at this kid. He's got on Jordans. That's what those are, right? Jordans right there. So, he's obviously playing to the heart, which is hiding some of his evil mastermindedness. So I'm enjoying that one. And then we got Huck. I think this is the last issue, issue 6. Yep, issue 6, last issue, man. Big heart. Oh, man, I like that cover, really. I like that cover right there. So this one's a lot of heart. I am totally prepared to just read this and then want to be done for the day. So, I always got to protect my emotions with Mark Miller because he knows how to pull those strings. And then we got Speed Racer number 4. Speed Racer is so much fun. It's really awakened something in me that I like car chase or car action comics. I did not think that would translate. Car action, car chases, car races. But ever since Prairie Gods came out earlier this year, and I've really enjoyed some of the car stuff that they're doing in comics. So I'm not a car guy. I'm not a huge car guy. In fact, I hate fixing my own car. And, I'm just not a huge car guy. But Speed Racer is really, really, really doing it for me. So excited to read that one. Oh, also Rook Exodus. Rook number 7 I finally caught up on. And wow, I thought it was great. And Rook Exodus number 8 now. We've got all new characters. We've got the Spider Warlord. The Turtle's back. We've got the the Canine Girl's dad. We've got the Sheep Girl now. That's how I call them in my head. I know they all have names. But now it looks like they came down and they're fighting the Spider guy. And horrifying. But man, Jason Fabok, I absolutely love that. In fact, I think I'm going to go back. I might start collecting some Jason Fabok Batman if it looks affordable. And then we got G.I. Joe. Finally, we're done with CoverGirl and the Baroness. And looks like we're going into a Destro Cobra story, and we've got Duke driving Cobra. Not sure what that's about, but that seems interesting, so I'm excited for that one. That's all the indies off the shelf at my comic shop. Last thing to share with you today, and if you do Kickstarters, you should expect this one. This is Impact International and the Globalist. I don't know too much about this one. It's from Argo Comics, and they did an interview with John's Longbox, and it sounded interesting. It's kind of like if the UN had a super team, I believe. And so this was actually 2 different series. You have Impact International and the Globalist, which I don't have. I don't want to. Well, I guess let me open this up real quick. There you go. So we've got the Impact International, but then you also have the Globalists. So it's like 2 different series, and then they come together for one issue. So I think Impact International number 3 and Globalist number 3 is actually the same issue, but they're by the different companies or something like that. I don't know. It sounded interesting, and I wouldn't have wanted to get it. So we've got Punt Press and Argo Comics are the 2 that came together for a little crossover there. So I thought that was pretty cool. Sounds interesting. And this looks, I love that cover there. Look at that cover. It's got deep black inks, which I like, that art style. The covers look fantastic, so I can only imagine what's going to be on the inside. Because in indie comics, it's not like Marvel will spend a lot of money on the cover, and then the inside is just garbage. If you get a good cover on an indie comic, you can pretty much be assured the inside is going to be great as well. In fact, let's go ahead and take a look on the inside. Yeah, that looks great. Little bit more digital than the cover would make it seem, but it looks great. Look at that. Look at that. I like the skyscrapers in the back. We've got some emotion on the faces. Again, I don't know too much about all these characters, so hopefully there's not too many spoilers. I like the use of the space. We got large panels there. So that looks great. I like this cover too. Look at that. And then on the inside, yeah, I like that depth of color. That looks great. So that is everything that I've got. And if you want to see what I think about the Batmans this week, we got Night Fight, we got Batman number 3. I will be reviewing those on Friday during the Big 2 review, which will actually, I guess, be the Big 1 review. And then on Monday, I will review these indies, let you know how good G.I. Joe and Rook Exodus is, and if Viking Moon is worth the pull. So thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe for more comic book videos. We're all about the comics. We're not talking about the drama. We're not talking about the news. We're not talking about the updates. We are just talking about the books. So if you want to enjoy the books, read the books, and nerd out about the books, this is the channel to follow. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Adios.